Hi everyone, welcome to Torah on Demand. I'm Rabbi Yael Ridberg. Sometimes the Torah portion of the week aligns with life in meaningful and profound ways. As we continue in the primordial history of the Torah this week, 10 generations have passed since Adam, and this week we meet Noach. We know very little about this man, only that he was a righteous person in his generation, and he survived the destruction of his world. His name is connected to 3 Hebrew words that offer different potential insights into his character. Chen, which means grace, Nechama, which means comfort, and Minucha, which means rest. I have been thinking a lot about Noah in these days following the catastrophic attacks in Israel. The immediate future, of course, is still uncertain, and while grace, comfort, and peace are elusive, there are profound signs of life. The text of the portion itself can be read as 2 versions of the story woven together. When Noah emerges from the ark following the flood, one strand of the story has him planting a vineyard and harvesting the grapes, getting drunk, and passing out. Having survived the calamity, his response was to numb himself to his new world. But the other strand of the story has Noah building an altar to God, offering sacrifices in gratitude for having survived. Which version is the real ending? I prefer to ask which version will help us in our resolve to grapple with the horrors of October 7th, which have already reshaped the reality in Israel and for Jews all over the world. The shock, anger, horror, fear, and existential loneliness in our grief has undermined even the simplest of interactions. When Noah and his family disembarked from the ark, the world as they knew it was gone. The Torah imagined that God said to him, "Behold, I will now establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you." Laws established meant to separate humanity from the lawless violence which brought God to the point of destroying the world. The story strand that has Noah building an altar to move forward is the most powerful to me, because God's response to Noah was to offer a detailed set of rules that humanity should live by. These laws, called the 7 Noahide laws, were considered to be universal. Prohibitions against idolatry and blasphemy, sexual immorality, murder, robbery, the eating of flesh torn from a living animal, and the requirement to establish courts of justice. Understood as the precursors to the 10 Commandments, these laws may be regarded as the foundations of all human and moral progress. How might we understand them in the shadow of the attacks in Israel and even in the desperation facing the people of Gaza? Humanity must be bound by principles and laws and by ideals of freedom and justice that need constant articulation. I have heard in more places than one this past week that Israeli victims of Hamas somehow deserved their fate. But there is no justification for the slaughter of babies, the rape of women, and the kidnapping of the elderly. These actions are in fact the non-negotiable prohibitions laid out in the Noahide laws, because those choices place annihilation over common humanity, driven by rage and retribution. I know that the bombardment of Gaza will not bring about peace, but I also know that this war is meant to uproot the terror tactics of Hamas that don't serve the Palestinian people as much as they are against Israel. Following the events of the last 10 days, we have 2 choices. We could numb ourselves to the world, or we could try to repair the jagged hole in the wall of civilization by insisting more firmly and loudly than ever before on the rules and norms for humanity. Israeli artist and musician Idan Reichel spoke to this in an interview on Israeli television, that what inspires and comforts him in his grief are the initiative of Israelis across every stratum of society to make food, collect clothing, deliver supplies to the soldiers, leadership emerging from the people in service of a society traumatized but resolute to move forward. In the coming weeks, may each of us find grace. May we find comfort and even rest in the efforts of support to Israel, with fervent hope that the hostages will be released safely and whole, that the bombing in Israel will cease, and that when we emerge from this catastrophe collectively as the Jewish people, there will be tangible ways to reestablish humanity in fundamental and important ways. Thanks for joining me. Shabbat Shalom. See you next time.